Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 1987 Supermod. I'm your host, as always, Brad Drake, and this is my AWA Save. We are back in action here. It's Wednesday, the first week of January 1988, and we are going to be filming the second half of our TV tapings. So technically this is all in one day, but I don't want to hit you people with a 1 hour plus show, so I split it up into two separate shows. So this episode is covering the following week's TV tapings. So, same venue, same everything, and we're booking championship wrestling first. Do you like how I made sure to check that before I went ahead and did the wrong show again like I did last time? So we're back in action here. Before we get going here, there's something I would like to discuss that's burning me right now that I would like to get off my chest. The topic of Hulk Hogan, okay? I see it all the time now. I belong to these old school wrestling groups on Facebook. In fact, that's probably where a lot of you saw my ads for the show and may have started watching from. Okay, sometimes I post an advertisement for the show on there. Not all the time, but we've picked up viewers and listeners from there. So one of the things I see all the time and constantly see on there is people trash talking Hulk Hogan and running down Hulk Hogan's accomplishments in wrestling. So, I grew up in the early 80s, and that's the era that I started watching wrestling. And I got to tell you that it was awesome to be a wrestling fan. I remember the biggest thing on earth was Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior, and that was when I was in 3rd grade. And there were fist fights on the playground and kids that didn't talk to each other, that were best friends. That's how divided people were over Hogan versus Warrior. It was huge. I don't know if wrestling could ever be like that again, but it was like that back then, and it was really something special. So I lived it. I lived the Hogan phenomenon. I grew up with the Hogan thing. And as I've gotten older and I've learned more about the inside of wrestling, including being involved in pro wrestling for about 8 years myself, running my own shows, working the Midwest circuit with my brother, I kind of know a thing or two about wrestling and how it works. And here's the first thing with Hogan, okay? Something you have to keep in mind. Hulk Hogan was a big dude that looked like $1 million, that had himself on the gas, and he approached superstar Billy Graham in a bar. He talked to the Briscoes about breaking into wrestling. Now, Hogan was in Florida, okay? So at that time, wrestling was closed. You had to be invited in. You had to try out. There was a lot of stuff that you had to go through in order to become a pro wrestler. And here's the biggest thing. The trainers, the people that were doing the training, they beat the shit out of the people trying to get in to scare them off and weed out people that couldn't handle it. Especially in Florida. That was championship wrestling from Florida, run by Eddie Graham. Eddie Graham was sadistic. They would torture people. They would put them through ridiculous amounts of calisthenics and these ridiculous runs so they would be exhausted. They would get them in the ring and they would stretch these people and rip up their shoulders and break their legs and do crap like that and hurt these people, okay? That's how people broke into wrestling in Florida. If you don't believe me, listen to the podcasts out there where they talk about it. In fact, Ron Fuller had an entire podcast dedicated to just this, talking about how sadistic and crazy Eddie Graham and his cohorts were in championship wrestling from Florida. Okay? One of Eddie Graham's cohorts, one of his most trusted wrestlers, who was with him for decades, was a man by the name of Hiro Matsuda. Okay? Hiro Matsuda was respected worldwide as a nasty shooter. Now, some of you may not understand what these words, hooker, shooter, stuff like that mean, so I'll explain it to you. A shooter means that if the match got real, this guy could hurt you. He could pop your shoulders out of place. He could break your legs easily. He could do some real damage to you. Same thing with a hooker. What that means is they could hook you. By hooking you, they could hook your shoulder, rip your shoulder out of joint. They could pop your neck out if they had to. They would do nasty, horrible things to you because a lot of those people came off the carnival circuit and stuff like that, or sometimes wrestlers just didn't want to lose in matches. Okay? So Hiro Matsuda was a product of championship wrestling from Florida. He was also friends with the Briscoes, involved with the Briscoes, involved with Eddie Graham. Hulk Hogan got sent to Hiro Matsuda by the Briscoe brothers. The Briscoe brothers were legitimate wrestlers and worldwide respected because nobody was going to beat them in a fight on the mat. They were both NCAA champions. They were incredible amateur wrestlers that also knew how to mess you up badly. So Hulk Hogan got sent to Hiro Matsuda for training by the Briscoe brothers. So do you think the Briscoe brothers would have sent just anyone to Hiro Matsuda? They must have seen something in Hulk Hogan. So in Hulk Hogan's first training session with Hiro Matsuda, he breaks both of Hulk Hogan's ankles. Not one, but both of his ankles. So did Hogan get run off? Did he quit? Did he go home? Did Hogan, who was 6'8", 330 pounds, who got both his ankles broken by a 5'10", 200-pound Hiro Matsuda, did he quit and give up and go home? No. The guy went home, healed up, and went back, and then got trained by Hiro Matsuda. Okay? So in those days, not only did you get trained how to wrestle, but they trained you how to defend yourself because it was your responsibility to protect pro wrestling against outsiders. You had to learn to be nasty. You had to learn how to fight and handle yourself. Okay? So all of these people that say Hogan was, oh, he was a shitty wrestler in the ring. He was awful. Okay. Well, what version of Hulk Hogan are you watching here? Because if you're watching Hulk Hogan, say 1984 to 1990 in the WWF, do you know what you're seeing? You're seeing a guy that's working 360 days a year who has to protect his body. So he works the simplest match possible every night in order to protect his body so he doesn't get injured, so he can keep wrestling and keep making the WWF and himself a fortune. So Hogan did as little as possible and got the biggest reactions from crowds and was very smart in doing so and ended up having a 30-year career by doing that. So to say that Hogan couldn't wrestle is not accurate. Hulk Hogan was trained by Hiro Matsuda and also had influence from the Briscoes. Watch Hulk Hogan's matches from the 70s and early 80s in Japan. Watch Hogan go. Watch Hogan wrestle. Hogan was the first Gaijin foreigner IWGP tournament champion. Do you know what that means? He beat Antonio Inoki in the final of that tournament to become the first IWGP tournament champion. It wasn't a heavyweight title yet. It was just an annual tournament. That's about as big of a deal as you can possibly get. That means you are accepted and you are the real deal. Okay? So let me put this to rest by all of the uneducated wrestling fans out there that don't understand how wrestling works. Hulk Hogan could go. Hulk Hogan didn't have to go until Hulk Hogan had to go. Then he would turn it on. You don't believe me? Watch Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior was awful. He was a horrible wrestler in the ring. Hulk Hogan took him over 20 minutes and put on a brilliant match with Ultimate Warrior, who could not wrestle and was a complete failure as champion because he got exposed that he couldn't wrestle. Watch Hulk Hogan versus The Rock at WrestleMania 18. Hulk Hogan is in his late 40s. He is broken down with a million injuries. Look at the match that he has with The Rock. And then watch the interviews with The Rock when The Rock tells how Hogan called and set up that entire match. The man knew how to wrestle. The man put wrestling on the map internationally. Wrestling was a regional promotion before Hulk Hogan hit it big. Now, granted, he was in the right place, the right time, with national exposure of cable television and stuff like that, but without Hulk Hogan, the WWF does not reach the mainstream stardom it did, because the guy had the charisma and the look and the ability and crossed over for the first time into the mainstream. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. He was hosting Saturday Night Live. He was doing all these things that other wrestlers had never done before, and he became not only the first true national wrestling star who was respected in everyday society, he also became an international star. So granted, we are almost 40 years later with this, and it's cool now to hate Hulk Hogan because that's the cool thing to do. But you cannot deny the guy's accomplishments, and you cannot deny the fact that this guy really did know how to wrestle because he was trained and brought in by one of the best wrestlers of all time. Okay? Now that that's settled, now that I got that off my chest, let's continue talking about the AWA save here. I'm sure you've been paying attention. You've been seeing me put in the matches here and get you caught up just as soon as I finish this Houdini versus Greg Wojokowski match here. That felt good to get off my chest. These idiots on these groups just drive me nuts. They have no idea the contributions of Hogan or where the guy took pro wrestling with the WWF in the 80s. It was, everybody's just thinks that wrestling was always like this, and it wasn't. The only national exposure you had in wrestling was the magazines. And what segment of the population read those magazines? Maybe 0.5%, 1% of people? So, all right, here we go. Back to the actual show, the reason why you're tuning in. This edition of Championship Wrestling, remember, this is our big show. We're going to have the terrorists featured, the Russians are featured. Vivian Vachon is featured. Baron von Raschke is featured. Greg Wojokowski is going to get a match in. Bob Backlund's going to get a match in. Bobby Duncum's going to get a match in. And then our main event, this is pretty cool. We're doing a 6-man tag. It's going to be Larry Zbyszko, Mr. Saito, and the Iron Sheik. And they're going to face Scott Hall and the Midnight Rockers. So next here, we have a Bob Backlund promo. That's going to go 3 minutes. That's going to be real simple here. Bob Backlund cuts a promo. And we're going to double check to see what to base Bob Backlund on. But I think we can do it on microphone. And this one, of course, is with Larry Nelson. And he's going to be talking about his feud with, I think he's feuding with Dick Slater. But let me double check here. Yeah, Dick Slater it is. You know what? Let's have this. Dick Slater attacks Bob Backlund after his match. So no reason to have Larry Nelson there. We can put that back to none. So Bob Backlund can be selling. And Dick Slater, let's see what we can rate him on. Dick Slater's really good at selling too. Let's see what else Bob Backlund's got. Star quality. Let's put Backlund on star quality. Selling and star quality. All right, it's only 3 minutes, but we'll see what we can do with that one, okay? All right. Yeah, no, I'll change it around. That's cool. Jeff Crimley versus Bob Backlund. Three minutes. I don't think we've been doing enough angles like that, so I think it's important that we start adding them in. Mix things up and make things more interesting on TV. It could work, it may not, but it's worth a shot. Seems like TEW's been screwing us any way they can. So we got to try it. So we just switched that around so that'll occur after the match. And we got a big Larry Zbyszko promo here. And who is Larry Zbyszko feuding with again? He's in that tag feud with Bockwinkel and Stevens. So there we go, Larry Zbyszko based on microphone. And we'll have Mr. Saito with him. And we'll have the Iron Sheik with him. And of course, Larry Nelson. And then he's going to be talking about Nick Bockwinkel, Ray Stevens. There we go. All right, so Saito's not rated on screen. Bockwinkel's off screen. Stevens is off screen. Bam, booked. Should work out pretty well. Joe Williams versus Bobby Duncum here. And of course, Big Bobby Duncum is going to go over. Makes him look good for his around the loop matches with Lawler. We got a Scott Hall promo. So we're going to have Scott Hall and the Midnight Rockers cut their promo. That one's going to go 6 minutes. There's Marty Jannetty. There's Shawn Michaels. There is Larry Nelson. And there is Curt Hennig. So Curt Hennig is off screen. Everybody else is on screen. Scott Hall is going to be rated on Charisma. Let's double check him out here. This one's hit or miss with Scott Hall. His microphone's an 80 star quality. We're going to rate him on star quality. And we're going to rate Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels on selling. All right, that one's booked. And now we got our 6-man tag. And we're most likely going to have to either cut a match or change the time on some things here. We'll deal with that as soon as we can. So Zbyszko, Saito, Iron Sheik versus Hall and the Midnight Rockers. Okay, so we can switch over to tag team mode here. There's Saito and Zbyszko. There's the Midnight Rockers. Now we just plug in Larry Zbyszko and Scott Hall. No, Larry Zbyszko's already in there. Iron Sheik and Scott Hall. And of course, this match is going to go to a draw. And it's going to be a double disqualification. Just the way the AWA like to do it. Okay, so we have to cut 1 minute, no problem. So we just cut the Scott Hall promo down 1 minute. And bam, here we go. All right, let's give this one a shot here and let's see how we do. Red Text of Doom, 21. I'm not surprised the terrorist wins with his big bear hug. The Russians get the win here. 57 overall. Vivian Vachon gets the win with her power bomb. Baron von Raschke wins with that brain claw. Paul Dose, he looks kind of high as a kite, doesn't he? All right, Wojokowski gets the win with his Boston Crab over potential superstar Houdini. I don't know how anybody could pass up on him with that look. It just seems wrong. Let's see if there's any takeaways on Wojokowski. There are not. Wojokowski's getting big here. I like him. All right, Bobby Backlund gets the win with that cross-face chicken wing. Crimley brings him down. We only get a 16. 67 overall in a squash match. Very good. Next, hey, there we go. Get a 70 for Dick Slater attacking Backlund after the match. Very nice. Get a 79. Hey, they're not totally screwing us here. For the promo here from Larry Zbyszko and company. Very nice. 66 for Bobby Duncum. I'm not surprised he wins with that running big boot. Sorry, Joe Williams. You probably got your ass handed to you. Actually, they said Bobby Duncum was light as a feather. But on TV, it looked like you got your ass handed to you. Only a 70 for the Hall and the Rockers promo. Folks, I'm a little concerned here. I am a little concerned. We could be in some trouble. Well, we get an 81, a nice score for the main event. But I'm worried. I'm very worried here. I think we're going to lose popularity again. And we increased popularity in 21. Fair enough. All right, 76 overall. Got that done, didn't we? All right, now we're going back over to All-Star Wrestling here. I always liked how they said that in the video for All-Star Wrestling. All-Star Wrestling. I can't show those videos anymore. YouTube got mad at me. I'm sorry, everybody. I liked having them there, but I can't show them anymore. All right, Bun Boy Barton. Oh, man. I can't even... That's even hard to say because it's so bad. He's going to face the Afghan communist, Ali Khan. Bun Boy Barton. That had to have been a joke on somebody. It had to have. Oh. Bun Boy's got an injury. But we can't have it drop down even more. Let's throw the excellent athlete Butch Schultz in there up against Khan instead. Butch Schultz was a bad dude. Never saw a tanning bed. All right, Ali Khan gets the win. Kooijian and Young are going to face Kiniski and Rich. This one, of course, is going to be 3 minutes. So there is David Kooijian. There's Mark Young. Still using him as enhancement talent, poor guy. There's Kiniski and Rich. All right, we're going to give the win to Johnny Rich. Because why not? Kiniski and Rich have been a good team for us. Jeff Curtis is going to face Tom Zenk. Tom Zenk's been doing a good job for us. Until he flakes out one of these days. And it's bound to happen. All right, there's Jeff Curtis. We've got a lot of Jeffs here. There is Tommy Zenk. All right, Tom Zenk gets the win on TV. Nice win. David Price, Wolfman Jr. is going to face Cactus Jack here. I really hope that one of you use this save and call him Wolfman Jr. Not use the save, but use the mod. I would like to see one of you do it. All right, there's Cactus Jack. Cactus is getting the win, of course. He's done a good job for us. Next, we got Jesse Hernandez is going to face that dastardly Sheik Adnan al-Kaissey. Jesse Hernandez, enhancement talent wrestler, who also became a longtime referee for the WWF. Al-Kaissey gets the win, of course. And I just did all that work for that Hawaii promotion. And Al-Kaissey had some titles there in Hawaii. It was pretty cool to see. All right, Scott Hall is going to cut a promo here on Curt Hennig. It's only going to be 3 minutes. There's Scott Hall. There's Eric Bischoff. And there is Curt Hennig. And of course, Curt Hennig's going to be off screen. It's a nice feud we got going. It's working out real well for us. Scott Hall is going to be rated on star quality for this one. Let's try him on microphone. That one's booked. Rex King is going to face Crusher Blackwell here. I'm surprised that they called him Crusher Blackwell with the Crusher constantly being in and out of the AWA. It's pretty surprising, but they did it. All right, Jerry Blackwell, of course, is going to get the win here. And soon enough, we're going to put him in charge of Southern Championship Wrestling. Bockwinkel and Stevens are going to cut a promo here. And remember, All-Star Wrestling is syndicated at this point. This is not a national show. So what that means is, say Nick Bockwinkel and Ray Stevens cut a promo here. It's going to be a promo for each market that they're going to be in. Okay? So how we have Omaha coming up here? A tape would be sent to Omaha for the show, All-Star Wrestling, and it would contain promos for that city, that market. They were market-specific promos. So these guys would have been in the studio all day, all night, doing promos for each of the individual markets. See how that works? So you got to think about it from that mindset. All right, Bockwinkel, and is Stevens better? He's pretty darn good on the microphone. But is he a little bit better at anything else? His microphone's an 80 star quality. Selling is very good. We'll keep him on microphone. Why not? Nah, you know what? Let's put him on selling. See what it does. Nobody's better on the microphone than Bockwinkel. Nobody. Except for maybe Ric Flair in this era. All right, that one's booked. Next, we got Robertson and Schultz. We're going to have to change Butch Schultz out since we just had to use him. And Greg Robertson is his name. We'll exclude already booked so we don't accidentally book the same enhancement talent. We'll put John Rizzo in there. Greg Robertson and John Rizzo are going to face Bockwinkel and Stevens. So, Rizzo and Robertson versus Bockwinkel and Stevens. What a learning opportunity for your young Greg Robertson and a young John Rizzo here to learn from these two. Ray Stevens is going to get the win here. And next, our market-specific promo is going to be by Curt Hennig. And of course, he's going to cut his promo on Scott Hall. Or perhaps somebody else if there was going to be a match in that market. It all depends. Some market-specific promos. Those would be edited in, the tape would be sent out, and that's what the station would run. Of course, it's Scott Hall in this case. We're going to do him on the microphone, and Scott Hall is going to be off camera. All right, and our main event here is Snuka versus Hennig, 14 minutes. And we are going to have Curt Hennig go over by count out here. Give us Jimmy Snuka an out. And it could have been anything that led to that. Hennig could have attacked him with a weapon. Anything. And let's look at count out here. There's the count out right there. That's the typical TV finishes they would have back then. So let's go ahead and run this show and let's see how we do. Ooh, serious red letter of doom there. As the Afghan communist gets the win with that power slam. Ali Khan was a big boy. That power slam was nice. Kiniski and Rich get the win here. More red text of doom, of course. Tom Zenk. How does Tom Zenk show a lack of psychology? The guy's been wrestling for a while here. Tom Zenk gets the win, unfortunately only a 59 overall. And the only knock is poor psychology and lack of psychology. Oh well. Serious red text the doom here as Cactus Jack beats Wolfman Jr., aka David Price. And Cactus Jack isn't penalized for anything, so that's good. Al-Kaissey, that crafty old veteran, scores us a 70 here against Jesse Hernandez. Al-Kaissey was good, I'm telling you. He was a good wrestler. All right, Scott Hall goes 69 here on his promo. Not bad. Not bad at all. Blackwell only gets a 53 here against Rex King. Blackwell's penalized for inconsistency. 81. I can't believe these two only scored an 81. This should have been a lot higher, but I'll take it. And remember, everybody's got a hot catchphrase right now. Everybody. Their match only gets a 59. That's incredibly disappointing. But then again, looking at who they're wrestling, it makes sense. We could be in some trouble here, folks, if we don't get two big numbers for the last promo here and the main. You only get a 77. You got the hottest feud in the country here, and they only get a 77. I sense another screw job coming, everybody. 84 for the main event. This may have saved us here, but we'll see. Is Jimmy Snuka showing his age yet? He is not, so that's good. All right, we're going to finish the show, and we should be good. We are. Get a 9. I'm sorry, we get improvement in 9 regions. We're going to finish up the show here. It's going to take us back to the main screen. And of course, we're going to launch into our tour here. Actually, we have one more spot show coming up in Bettendorf, Iowa. And then we're going to go ahead and be back into our tour in 2 more days here. And by 2 more days, I mean for real 2 more days. You'll see the tomorrow's show is going to be the spot show, and then the show after that's going to be our back on the tour in Iowa. All right, so I don't see anything here on the main screen except that Osamu Kido has re-signed with New Japan. I don't see anything else that catches the eye here except for Central States is still running. Man, that's funny what happened with that one. So, all right, that's going to do it for us, folks. Thanks for tuning in today. We'll see you tomorrow with that spot show. And Facebook.com/groups/1987 Supermod. Join us in conversation about this mod. And also, give us a like, share this video with your friends, and go ahead and subscribe to our channel. It will help us, and it will help you to get our videos when they launch every single day. Last but not least, if you do not have the mod yet and you would like the Supermod version 7.0, go to braddrake.net, drop me a line, and I will be more than happy to send you over a link to not only the picture pack, but also the database. Take care, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.